always unique, Dyllan Doe. This is why the caged bird sings. This is why the caged bird sings, Dyllan Doe.
Who else is a fan of freedom? Can I get a hoorah? Hoorah! Wonderful. Freedom is a core tenet of what it means to be an American. Our forefathers fought for our freedom. We weren't just handed it like Canada. And yet, in the land of the free, I feel trapped like a bird in a cage, wings clipped, feet tied. This bird sings a song of binding fear, a melody of hope, and a call to action. And today, you'll hear this song. Did I ever mention why I feel trapped? I am bound by fear, in a sense. I am on a rock, flying through space, traveling at an unfathomable pace. Stuck here, surrounded by such silly people. Not you guys. Let me give you an example of this silliness. There are individuals who deny the usefulness of vaccines, eroding herd immunity and risking the lives of those who cannot be vaccinated. And that is in a country where a serious injury or disease can ruin a family or bankrupt an individual, especially if they don't have health care or health insurance. And what about how we treat mental health in this country, right? Whether it's among the homeless, veterans, or even high schoolers. We could be doing so much more, but why aren't we? Amidst all of this, prejudice runs rampant through our country. And it is run by one who turns the absurd into an everyday occurrence. Not to mention, robots are going to take over the world. You guys laugh, but think about it. When self-driving cars become safer than human drivers, 3.5 million truckers are going to be out of a job. That is just a little bit less than the population of Los Angeles. 3.5 million individuals entering the workforce with now dated skills. What are we going to do about this, right? I mean, what can we do? At least in the current situation, current environment. And looming over all of this is climate change. Florida is going to be underwater. This very room we are sitting in is going to be underwater, if not in our generation, then maybe the next one. Do you hear the music? Do you understand why I am afraid? Despite all of this, I have hope, like a melody floating in the breeze. This era, this time, it is the most peaceful period of time in recorded history. Our lifespans are twice what they were 100 years ago. That is incredible. On top of that, we have near instantaneous communication and not so instant travel around the world. That's not something that our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, they never would have imagined anything like this. Or like the World Wide Web of information that we have, that anybody can tap into. A World Wide Web full of information and knowledge. This enabling the incredible innovation and the exponential growth of our collective knowledge as well as, frankly, disturbing amounts of adult material. Yet, the future in some ways can seem bright. We just launched a car into space, playing David Bowie's Space Oddity. And on top of that, we landed 2 boosters from that rocket back here on Earth. You know what this means? Space travel becomes so much cheaper. That means we can go into space and collect resources and visit Mars, and who knows what the future will have in stock. We might reach a post-scarcity society bolstered by the resources of the asteroid belt. We can have a colony on Mars and use that technology to help us adapt to our changing climate so that we don't lose our home. Maybe the singularity will swing through, and we will meld our mind with the machine. And these are my hopes. If you share them, then that's great. If your values differ, that is absolutely fine. But what is important is the call to action. And that action is to vote. Some people say that one vote doesn't matter. I say foo-hucky. Every single vote matters. The 2018 midterms are coming up. That means multiple seats in the House and the Senate, as well as your city, state, or county governments are going to be up for election. Fewer people vote in these elections, so each vote makes a bigger impact. And those local elections are going to be very important when 2020 comes around, because in 2020, we have a new census. We are redrawing the districts, and that is done by the state. Whatever political party has control of a given state can redraw those districts in a biased way. That is called gerrymandering. Besides, you are more than just your vote. You have your friends, your family, your network, your co-workers, everybody. And at the end of the day, voting is our right and our responsibility. I will finish this with the words of Maya Angelou. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still. And his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. Thank you.
Well, that does conclude our championship match. I mean, the international speech contest.